So, welcome to the MoneyPigs podcast. I guess I'll get rid of our pre-show logo. This is episode 4. We're going to be talking about Petrus along with the last impromptu beta, some of the daily discussions that have been going on, and some of the upcoming changes. So, moving right into it, I guess we'll take a look at Petrus, the latest shaper from Dawngate.
Yeah, so I'm good. How are you?
Oh yes, I'm BestDibsNA. This is RL John. He's a cool guy. MOBA Champion.
We're not doing we're not doing the pointing thing. Definitely not.
I'm pointing.
But yeah, as you say, Petrus, they showed on stream today, looking pretty cool.
Speaking of streams, this is our first live stream. We have no idea what we're doing. It's exciting. It's exciting for all of us.
Absolutely none.
We certainly love any and all feedback, so we can keep to improve the quality of the show. We'll see how this turns out.
Yeah, I guess you should probably let everyone know where our third guest is this week.
Twerp, our regular third guest, Twerp78's computer has died. Unfortunately, he is in the process of getting it fixed and will hopefully be up and running within the next week.
Well, he was really the soul of our show. I mean, we didn't have a single call in until he showed up.
Right.
So hopefully we can truck on.
And Twerp was in charge of manning the lines and making sure we got all of our calls. So
Yeah.
back to Petrus before we get too off topic.
Sure, man. So Petrus is our second melee ability bruiser after Cerulean. He's sort of a Lee Sin Garen love child. Got crazy damage, and most importantly, the very iconic Blade Storm ability.
Yeah, he does. He's got the spin to win. No hooks yet, but he does have the hypersonic punch, and he's pure shaper, but he's a pure shaper variant, correct, or is that removed?
Oh, no. So that was my bad. I sort of pulled the text over a month ago, so it's a little out of date for a brief moment today on MOBA Champion. So yeah, he's just a regular pure shaper, so he's only limited by his cooldowns.
Nice. So he does not get that extra defense bonus that we thought he did. He's just getting pure shaper cast. So I mean, his first ability Q. We've seen. If you haven't seen Petrus, you should go take a look at the Waystone stream if you're watching this after that. Hopefully I will have a Petrus spotlight out by then so you can take a look at his abilities. But his first shot is called Demi. It's his Q, and it's just a percent health, damage, punch, max against minions. Do you think this is going to make him good in the jungle? Since, I mean, it does have that max on minions, which is more for an objective like Parasite.
Yeah, he's going to be able to just slaughter the big minions a lot faster. I mean, anything that scales off max HP is great because, if you're behind, you don't need the items to deal quite as much of a punch.
Right.
So I only have the sort of the base max amount, which is 180, and I was sort of extrapolating upwards for the 5 ranks. But typically, from what we've seen in other games, is you lets you do a sizable chunk, but it's not going to let you just start taking big components of Parasite's HP out. It's usually reasonably tuned.
Right. I think it's going to be a good ability. It's going to be certainly quite strong against other targets. If he gets a little defense pen, it seems like a little defense pen goes a long way. I'm seeing people where they're just picking up destruction, not even picking up rage, and it feels like they're cutting through all my armor, even if I have close to 200 and maybe a couple thousand health. It still feels like I have nothing and I'm just getting melted. So I'm interested in the power builds, but he's also going to benefit a lot from building items like Rampancy and Glory and stacking more health power oriented builds similar to what you might see on Cerulean.
Yeah, the cooldown on that ability at max rank is really good. It's going to synergize with his E, which lasts 3 seconds, the spin to win ability. So with a 6-second cooldown on Q and a little bit of haste, he's going to be able to open up with Q, which is a pretty sizable nuke and scales off max HP, so it doesn't matter when you use it. So you're going to open with that. I mean, notwithstanding his stun W or his ultimate, pop into the spin to win, which is going to last for 3 seconds, and then as soon as that's over, you've got that Q up again. So even in the jungle, your combo is going to be the exact same, right? You're going to pop up on the big creep, punch the big creep with your Q, then start spinning. As soon as your spin's done, you're going to pop your Q again. I have to imagine that's got to be pretty close to just taking out most of the jungle creeps just with that combo.
Definitely, and he's getting the mobility from his W force wave, which is his leap, and it's got a 0.75 second stun on it. That stun does not appear to scale, but the cooldown does get down to 7 seconds with no CDR, which is it's not bad for a stun if you're stunning somebody 1/10 of the time it's up.
Yeah, not to mention every time his spin to win, his unyielding progress hits another enemy shaper, it's going to reduce the cooldown of his other abilities by 1/3 of a second per tick. So I believe was it Zalgus, which was on stream today, mentioned you could stack a little bit of haste and sort of keep rolling through the spins and the stuns and the spins and the stun, and while you might not do as much damage, especially if you're building tanky, you might just be able to focus purely on disruption.
Right, and it's going to be really easy to do that since he's not limited by a resource system. You're just going to be cooldown based, so by being able to get your cooldowns lower and just keep getting your abilities out, he's going to be much more caster oriented than he is right click.
Yeah, I mean that's the important thing about an ability bruiser is you want your cooldowns to be low because if your cooldowns are high, you're going to press all your buttons once. A couple examples, let's say from League of Legends, you've got Alistar, who's got like really cool combo, but you use it and you're done, right? So these cooldowns being 6, 7, 10, even his ultimate with a 70-second cooldown, like you're going to be pressing buttons all the time.
Right, he's got great ratios as well, which is going to make him great for casting. Obviously, his unyielding progress, his spin to win, you're seeing the highest ratio on that of 1.5 of your power. So power's certainly going to be a good pickup, or even getting an item like Rampancy, which is giving you power per your health. You're going to be able to tank up and be doing more damage. As well, you could start with an item like Power at level 1, and you're going to be getting 27 additional power just outright on your dot, which is probably, it's about a 12.5% boost to your overall DPS level 1, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to get these numbers confirmed on Friday. I mean, they were pulled from about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so it's very possible he's undergone some last-minute tuning before hitting live. Because right now his damage, I believe, charted out is second only to Amaranth, and Amaranth is the biggest burst shaper in the game. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe the damage is the same. I mean, there's certainly a risk investment in actually trying to deal your damage. When you're spinning, you're obviously right on top of the enemies. And if you're using your force wave, your leap and your jump to come into the fight, you don't really have a safe way out. So it's definitely something we'll have to check on. I mean, 480 base damage at level 9 is it's pretty high.
Yeah, 480 over 3 seconds and resetting and 1.5 ratios, it could get out of hand pretty quickly. So his ultimate hypersonic punch is kind of similar to a Lee Sin kick from League of Legends in that it's a melee range knockback and they're taking additional damage if they strike a wall or colliding with enemies.
Yeah, it definitely seems. Sorry, doing it again. Uh, it definitely seems like it's basically the exact same ability as Lee Sin's ultimate, right? You click on somebody, they fly away from you, dealing damage, and if they hit somebody else, then that person takes damage as well. But then it's got that interesting mechanic where if you hit the wall, you're going to double the damage. So yeah, it's. I don't think it'll be that hard to use because the walls in Dongate, especially in the jungle, are really close. The corridors are very small, and you're not typically fighting in open spaces very often unless you're fighting directly on top of Parasite, or in Spirit Well, or directly in lane. So if you're engaging in a skirmish anywhere else, you're going to be able to pretty easily get that ult to proc for max damage.
Certainly. I'm interested in seeing how it combos with Force Wave in terms of maybe him jumping behind people and kicking them to the team, and plays such as that, especially with the stun, you might be able to get some good Alistair-inspired knockback combos going, but it's going to have a little more kick to it.
Right. I mean, with so few shapers in the game, especially with hard CC, his combo, if used properly, is going to be able to, blink in, stun the team, jump a little forward with it and knock back into the team, that guy's going to get gibbed, especially if you've got someone like Moya to follow up with. Or, vice versa. Moya starts the charge, he jumps in, stuns everyone, and then kicks that person further back in. Like, you're going to see some pretty cool wombo combos that's just going to completely change the pace of a fight.
Certainly. So we're hoping to see Petrus added to the game this Friday. Of course, Waystone said if they can't get the game through QA fast enough and they can't get the patch stable, it'll probably take another week. But within the next 2 weeks, we'll definitely see Petrus being added to the live patch, and he's going to be interesting to test out and see how he changes the balance of the game.
Right, yeah. So they showed him on stream today on their community wrap up, and they said they were going to be playing him again tomorrow, and the goal was to get him in by Friday, but they'll do their best. But it does seem like they're getting a little more comfortable with getting these patches out and turning on the beta servers. There was that sort of special event that they threw out last night, just sort of out of the blue, where the Paradoxic and I think Zalgus, if I recall, just came onto IRC and just said, "Hey, we're going to turn on the servers for fun." And everyone just said, "Oh, thanks for teasing." But 5 minutes later, the servers were online, and I was scrambling home from work to play a game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was sort of like, are the servers actually up? I'll go into my C folder and launch the game and find out what's going on, and sure enough, I'm logged in with like 5 other people, and we're all losing our minds and are in a game, and just like expecting them to troll us and turn the servers off as soon as the first game starts. But they kept the servers up for 2 hours. I think we saw a couple hundred people get on. There were some people that even played their first games last night. I was hearing some good feedback from them, and it was overall a fun impromptu event, and look forward to seeing more of those. Or
Yeah, I mean, for sure, any chance to play the game is good enough for me. The first game I played, it was actually pretty funny because there's a couple of guys that had just got their beta key in the stream event earlier today, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna patch the game. Might as well get it ready for Friday." And holy cow, the servers are online, so they came in. But unfortunately, the rest of the people that were online were like those hardcore, devout IRC guys, 20, 30, 40 cups to their name. So that first game for those two guys went pretty rough. But it was fun. And then the next game, we got sort of our pre-made crew together and started doing some in-house 5v5. So it was a good time.
yeah, things balanced out as the night went on. It was certainly a limited pool, so it was hard to find a perfectly balanced room, but I had some great matches the other night, and impromptu beta was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, people are getting better and better. The first week that we played Dawngate, my scores were 25 type stuff, and now it's getting a lot closer. I'm starting to feed a little more, so it's good that the general skill level is going up. Everyone's getting used to the game, and games are becoming a lot more closer. You're seeing people going for Parasite a lot earlier, going for Spirit Wells, just for the pure economy harass that they show off a lot on stream. So it's definitely fun. The game's getting into a pretty good spot.
Certainly, people are showing off. They're getting more comfortable with Dawngate and leaving behind some of the ideas they're carrying over from other MOBAs they might play, like League, Smite, Dota 2, and are starting to say, let's do this the Dawngate way. We're going to be taking this global objective at 5 minutes, whereas you don't even really think about taking a dragon until maybe the 10-minute mark. But it's certainly feasible that you can do these things, and people are starting to take advantage of it. And it's interesting to see the game take shape as its own game develops within it.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of community resources that are doing a good job of getting the discussion and getting everybody into that mold where, they're starting to think and bounce ideas around and, establish these, not standards, but just, making sure that people know, this is the Parasite. It's going to spawn at 5 minutes. You need to go there. You need to get it. These are the Spirit Wells. What is it, 7 minutes they unlock?
Yeah, 7.5 minutes they're unlocking.
Right, yeah. One of the cool things I've seen, which they actually talked a little bit on stream today, was the daily discussion threads that they had up on Reddit that CSL James was putting up. The topics are just so varied that anyone that's sort of just following the subreddit, even if they're not in the beta, are going to get such a broad sort of, I'm not even sure the word, not depth, but just a broad scope of just cool aspects of the game they can talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of different aspects that are being talked about every day over on the subreddit /r/Dawngate. I think CSL James has been managing those. He's been doing a great job with them. I think Venor who is in charge of the subreddit. He's been doing a great job helping with those, and we've seen some orange posts coming in. I think the daily discussion today was talking about the game client and features and feedback, and you're seeing the devs interacting with the community and the community interacting with the devs, and it's just overall a really cool experience to have.
Yeah, the passion from the devs is really super cool to see. Gassy was posting from his vacation today, saying, "Oh, the client's just there right now in its infancy, to get the core stuff out there. But let us know what you want, and we'll work on it." And he's sitting here on his vacation, posting on the message boards, and I think Paradoxic jumped in that thread as well. I mean, not to mention all the other dozens of ways that the devs have been getting involved with the community. So it's definitely cool, though. You click on a thread, and all of a sudden there's an orange post all the way upvoted to the top. Like, you don't see that in other games.
Yeah, I mean, especially from such a small team, it's really cool to see how devoted they are to helping the community get the information they need.
Yeah, like I mean, even on the stream today, right? I mean, they were showing the stream on they're showing the next patch like ahead of time. Uh, the stuff that you will be hopefully seeing on Friday, like the updated Spirit Well.
Right, yeah, the updated Spirit Well animations were quite cool. I thought it was a visual improvement. What did you think about it?
Right, I mean, it looks pretty cool, right? So they updated the Spirit Well to show this sort of gunpowdery type cooldown after it's been locked to
Right.
give it like a really cool, like that is new, right? Like I'm not crazy.
No, I mean the biggest. I was so distracted. They put little squiggles on the outside of the circle, instead of the inside for like the full timer, and it's got like a full. Instead of just locking and lighting up lights, there's a full fluid animation traveling around it. So it helps me visually track what the actual lock timer is. There's no longer guessing of, oh, it's about to lock. It's not about to lock. It's like, okay, this is moving at a steady pace. It's fun to watch. It looks cool. I like it overall. I
Yeah,
think,
like it was. Sorry, man.
yeah,
It was
no,
super
go ahead.
polished, and it was like really detailed, almost too detailed. Like it popped out from the map. Like it looked really sharp. And that little gunpowder thing that's sort of squiggling around the screen, I think it was chunked into like 8 different segments as well. So you could, I think it's a 4-minute lock timer. So you could sort of see each one representing 15 seconds or so
Right.
of time ticking down. So you could just quickly glance over. I mean, you want to do your math, you can be like, oh, there's a quarter time left, or you could count, there's 3 blocks left, so you don't have to do like a 2/5 multiply. Uh, so little things like that sort of negates the requirement for them to do anything crazy with like UI. Because I mean, it's pretty boring on screen. You're like, oh, Spirit Well unlocks in 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and it's just like a visual timer that's really gamey. But when they display it in like the art like this, I mean, it accomplishes the same purpose. You have to mouse over the Spirit Well to see when it unlocks. So I mean, there's a bit of skill and effort required, and it looks great.
I I'm liking it. It's good. So I guess we also saw power nerfs in the live stream today.
Yeah, they talked about them briefly. So they basically mentioned that, sort of across the board, power is being looked at. They didn't really go into any specifics other than it's getting nerfed. So, the power loadout's going to go down. The premiums on the items are going to go down. Maybe you'll see +10 on the item instead of 12. I'm expecting the patch notes tomorrow if there is going to be a patch on Friday. So, we'll see the full numbers then. But I'm hoping what it's really going to combat is the fact that I think sort of the physical carries early on probably are doing a little bit too much damage, especially since they have a 1.0 ratio on their autos. So, you've got +18 from the power loadout and possible another 12 from the starting item, although you should probably be starting hunger. But, that's giving you a huge 20, 25 damage bonus over laning against a caster. And it just feels a little too strong. Like I found a few times on Amrith, I'd walk up and cast a spell on someone, and they'd auto me, and they'd hit twice as hard, and it didn't feel great.
Yeah, I feel that it's not as big as an issue as it is in the mages. There aren't really too many burst mages. Amaranth, it certainly power is feeling quite strong on her early. I didn't hear, did they mention if they were nerfing it by taking the numbers down and keeping the cost the same, or bumping the cost up and keeping the numbers the same?
I'm not sure what exactly they did say.
Right.
I just remember nerfs being mentioned. It could be cost, it could be values. Probably power nerf, so you can only buy 2 health potions at the start wouldn't be that bad. But I mean, that's really up to their own tuning. I'm sure whatever they do is going to make sense. I definitely just agree that it just needs to go down a bit. Like my gripe was like attack damage, but Amaranth 100%ing people with one item is probably also not so good.
I mean, there is a lot of burst damage in Dawngate, more so than you might see in League. I don't really want to go out so far as to say that, but people like Amaranth are having crazy burst. Volek, if he can get into your face, has some pretty good burst. He doesn't have the best gap closers, but if he's there, he's going to be doing some damage. And you're also seeing physical carries just melt through tanks, even when they have armor and health. So power and defense pen are both really strong right now. And it's going to be interesting to see if, this is working as intended and they want to see these carries playing, hard carry roles in mid to late game. I think it could use a little tuning, but things aren't too bad. So it's nice to see them taking a look at the power numbers and saying, hey, this is kind of strong right now on some of these shapers. Let's, try a patch and, get some info on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some faith in them. I'm sure whatever they're doing is going to be an improvement. One thing that I'm hoping they also look at on this patch, or at least the next one after, is something that I've sort of been bouncing around IRC, and I've seen a few people agreeing. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I find that the jungle XP is probably a little overtuned. It's been a pretty consistent story in most of my games that the jungler is the first one to 6. Pretty much right in line with the solo lane, and it's been a pretty common story where the level 6 jungler comes in, pops his ult, and just completely swings a 2v2 lane. And with the sort of the slow level up rate of the duo lane, it's sort of very harmful for that lane. You get ganked level 6, you're level 4, you're level 5, you die, you come back to lane, you're still level 4, level 5, enemy team 7. It's a really steep hill to get back up on. And I think if they just tuned the jungle XP down a little bit, then if everyone's sort of hitting level 6 at the same time, I'd be a little happier.
Right. I think another issue that's a side effect from this is you're seeing Parasite spawn at 5 minutes right now. So when a team is getting a gank, it's about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes into the game, and the second they get that kill, they're already ahead, and they're going and killing Parasite for a global objective of 400 XP, which is a significant portion. I think it's more than 50% of levels 6 to 7. It's about 50%. So it's sort of snowballing the fact that this jungler has the upper hand from the fast clear, gets a good gank off, and then the team proceeds to do Parasite, and they're well ahead, and it just feels like the team that didn't get a chance to really contest Parasite or try and make up from kills first. I'd be interested to see Parasite unlocking at the same time as Spirit Wells, so there's an alternate objective that you can try and do to get back into the game. Spirit Wells are unlocking at 7:30. Parasite is spawning at 5. Maybe we could see Parasite push back to 7.5 minutes, so we can't see First Blood deciding first Parasite, or maybe if First Blood is being decided, the team can say, hey, they're not really easily going to be able to do Parasite. Let's go try and take Spirit Wells as they're unlocking at a new time of, say, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely think that Spirit Wells, the 7.5 minute, is a pretty reasonable time for Parasite as well. I mean, I don't want to tell them exactly what to do, but as you said, an early Parasite is pretty overpowering, especially early Spirit Well harass is really overpowering as well. And I mean, it might be something that's maybe more balanced for high level play, where you properly counter ward Parasite and properly counter ward the Spirit Wells. But right now, in sort of the lack of matchmaking state, it's giving a lot of power to the jungle. And it's one of those old things in League where people are like, oh, this is just a pub stompy type mechanic. It's okay because it only works at the lowest of skill levels. But I mean, like that's where it feels right now.
I believe we're back.
We're back. We're back. You were saying something about the junglers.
Woo, we're back online. Yeah, that was almost scary, but we got it turned around. So I was saying junglers, something. Um, where were we? Moya. Okay, yes, numbers. There might be an alternate playstyle which would lend itself more to these counter strategies. Of course, it's hard to really say what's too strong right now because in a lot of games you're seeing people with under 5 wins playing with people with 20 plus wins. So sometimes people with more game knowledge are able to take advantage of this. I think numbers should probably stay about the same for now. Yeah, and wait till we can get some more balanced games. All the games I've played where it was either, 5-man pre-made versus 5-man pre-made of people with 20 plus wins, those were phenomenal games where they were really close and, down to the 40-minute mark and last team fighting's like really deciding who won that despite early parasites and kills. But I think it's important that the game remains balanced for, pub scenarios and duo queues going against groups of 3. It's going to be interesting to see how it balances out, but I think for now, as you were saying, numbers are fine, and if the devs want to play around with them, that's cool too. But I'm interested to see how the quote unquote metagame evolves, and that are people going to be running double junglers off junglers to try and create 2 solo lanes so everybody can be trying to ding 6 at about the same time. It's going to be interesting.
That was a incredible monologue right there.
Such a monologue.
No, I just wanted to sort of take a step back because sort of to reiterate what you're saying. The close and competitive games right now feel really good and really close. I think my complaint with the jungle comes from my solo queue or whatever you want to call them. My joining a random game experience. In that case, when you're jungling, your basic strategy is I'm gonna go AFK and farm the jungle. It's and the junglers are going to hate me for saying this, but it's the easiest role, right? You don't have to worry about last hitting. You don't have to worry about harassing. You're just going to go camp to camp. The teams aren't organized because it's just a puggy game, and you're always going to hit 6 first. And that's sort of the tuning that I'm a little worried about because it's just like the lowest common denominator. Like anybody can go do it. You're going to grab Volek, grab Cerulean, grab Moya. Like it doesn't matter who you're playing. Grab Hunger and Vanquish, and you're going to hit 6 before anyone else. And if you've got a little bit of skill at the game and you know how to go hit those spirit wells, you're going to hit 7 before everyone else because that spirit wells are loaded with XP.
Right, XP is certainly high. That's another number that could be tweaked, but again, people might not be utilizing the objective properly right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves as beta goes on.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, the competitive games have been really close from what I've played, and a lot more fun actually.
Yeah, playing full 5v5 team games, you're seeing a lot of people that are excited and wanting esports to be a thing and to get have a Waystone get involved with that. Almost every live stream, you're just seeing Q colon where are esports? Is there going to be beta tournaments, prize money? Key please esports. It's certainly a hot topic. There's certainly competition going on right now. People have been setting up scrims. There's been the tournaments being organized by CSL James, which have been going swimmingly. As far as I know, they've been playing single elim to give these people who are wanting to try and refine better 5v5 strategies and get deeper in the game a chance to do that. I played in one. It was a lot of fun. But I also just enjoy making rooms and trying to find groups of 5 to play against. Had some good matches. A couple betas ago, I was playing with Bobby Big Wheel and his team. It's an awesome name, and had a lot of fun. They were great to play against. They beat us, we beat them, and every time we were working on refining our strategies and our early game and mid game and late game. And it's interesting to just play the game and watch yourself getting better and evolving your strategies.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best gameplay experience is going to come from a close game. I mean, everybody likes winning, but I don't think everybody likes just stomping all over like random people. And easily these little mini tournament things are definitely the best way to get your sort of your little kick, your competitive kick. Because you're going to be coming in against players. Maybe your first couple of games, if you're winning, might not be the closest, but from what I've seen, like those last games, I remember your game versus Dong 8 was pretty close, and then Dong 8 lost in the finals of the tournament this week. So I mean, clearly there's definitely a competitive scene out there for those who wish to seek it.
Yes, there's certainly a competitive scene, and even if you don't have 5 friends in the Dawn Gate beta right now, I
Lose you?
know if I'm here. Hello, check 1 2. I see you. It's in the Dawn Gate
Okay,
beta right
okay, we're
now.
good.
I
Lose you?
know if I'm waiting to see the stream catch up. I think we are live. I think I just cut out there for a second. Am I
Cool.
back? I see you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay.
Uh,
Wonderful. Um, so yeah, esports and competition is a thing. You can get involved with that. If you don't have a team, they will help hook you up with an impromptu team of people to merrily jump into competition with, and you can always look around on the forums or subreddit or IRC for more players to get involved with.
well, to hold you up there though, you said that esports and competition is a thing, which is something I'm
Right. Those are different things, and by that I mean getting involved in the forming. There's certainly a competitive scene forming, which may lead to involvement from Waystone in the future. There's been talks of people holding early pay beta tournaments. I know that is on the horizon and something to look out for.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people in chat ask Waystone, like you mentioned a couple minutes ago, when's the esports? What's the esports scene gonna look like? Are you making the game for esports? Is this the esports game? Esports. And I think a lot of people sort of need to remember that this is the fourth closed beta test
Right.
of a game that's, I mean, where do we even put the estimate on the open beta? 6 months from now? Like,
I mean, it could be any time. We don't even have enough shapers to play a single ban draft because there's not enough of the archetype. You could ban out all of the physical range with just 2 bans, pretty much. You could ban out Cerulean and Petrus. There's just not a large enough shaper pool, and we might see more competitively viable tournaments here. Maybe when we have 30-ish shapers, hopefully closer to 40. They are regularly churning them out. It seems like every 2 weeks at this point. Maybe they'll slow down in the future, but for now, it's been going well in terms of releases.
yeah, I mean, I've definitely got a pretty good approval of what they're saying, that they're worried about. They're keeping the competitive scene in mind in their balance decisions, but right now they're just trying to get the game out and get the game fun, and get the game out, right? I mean, the game's got to go in open beta, it's got to go in release, and before Waystone turns around and starts investing in an esports scene, the game's got to be making them money, or else they would just be throwing money down the drain. And obviously, you're not going to see a company do that. Um, but I mean, as someone that watches StarCraft 2 and Dota without having any idea what's going on, just watching it for fun, and obviously with the League of Legends Championship Series, I'm super excited, and I expect there to be a scene, 6 months to a year from now. But the game's it's gotta have room to grow first, right? I mean, before there was a big esports scene in League of Legends, there was Hotshot GG streaming on own TV to 20,000 people. Meanwhile, the tournaments barely had more streamers than that, right? So I definitely think people just need to sort of hold their horses a little bit, read the FAQ when they jump on stream, and give a little bit of trust. Waystone said many, many, many times that they're keeping game balance with the competitive scene in mind. So hopefully, maybe 2 or 3 months we'll see some of the esports features like spectator mode and replays, and we'll be able to get community tournaments that can actually be casted.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah.
So moving on,
Moving on,
coming
don't have
to a wrap up. There's not much left to say.
yeah, so I got a little jot note here, see if people are watching in chat, if they had any questions that they'd like us to sort of Q&A about.
Sure, that'd be great. We could do any Q&A if anybody has something. They could just pop it up in chat right now, and we can try and talk about that talking point if you guys feel that we missed something or want something to be answered from tonight's podcast.
There's actually some good discussion going on about jungling and snowballing right now, in pink and purple text on my screen right now. I
It's
don't
a
know.
little hard to follow. Yeah, it's about Moya mostly.
Yeah, and Venor had a very interesting question at the start of the night, asking if you'd rather fight 100.
Oh, I like this one.
Or, what
It
was the
was
question?
100 Desecrator sized Dibs or 1 Dibs sized Desecrator.
Um, no, that can't be it. It's got to be the other way around. It's got to be the other way around.
Yeah, you're right. No, you'd have 100 desecrators. Wait. Desecrators the size of Dibs, and there's 100 of those. And there's
Right.
one giant Dibs the size of Desecrator.
Right. Um,
I'd go with well, Dibs is not that small. Dibs is of a significant size.
I mean, like I'm a pretty big guy. He's got to be the same size as me. I mean, he's pudgy.
I think I would go for the one Dibs sized as a Desecrator.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an engineer. I went through engineering. The math is there. I mean, you only have to win once, right? I mean,
You only win once.
look at the diminishing return. Like you might be able to kill the first 10, 15 Dibs-sized desecrators, but eventually that scaling HP damage is gonna wear you down.
Especially if they can pop each other's nightmare stacks, it would get out of hand.
God, I don't even know what Dibs does. Like I'm embarrassed, right? I put up the Shaper pages on MOBA Champion.
You don't watch my
but
spotlight?
I I watched your spotlight, but that was a while ago. I haven't seen a spotlight from you in a little while.
It's in the works. Hopefully after this podcast is done, something will be turned around to be released tomorrow with a beta key giveaway attached to it. Single
Oh,
beta key. I'm throwing it down right now. There will be keys. Tell your friends that don't have keys. I think I'm gonna
you
set
mean
it up so when I post the variant spotlight, just you don't need to sub, don't need to like it, just drop a comment and I will randomly select someone. Preferably don't post if you already have a key. If you don't have one, I fully welcome you to trying to win that.
cool? So we heard it here first. Beta key from BestDibsNA
Beta key.
tomorrow.
Sure.
Perfect.
We'll call it tomorrow. 100%. The variant
100%.
spotlight will have to be done tonight.
We're gonna hold it to you. Next question from Kalulba. Question: Jiva or Buell?
I haven't seen Buell on stream, but I've talked to Buell, but Jiva's filled with shenanigans. This is difficult. This is difficult. What are you thinking, John?
Um, Venor says Jiva.
Jiva's pretty entertaining.
But Buell is like a machine, though. Everyone on stream says he's like some sort of like farming robot that just I laid against him once and he farmed me. So
I've seen a lot of Team Jiva in chat.
there's a lot of Team Jiva. All right, well I'm a hipster, so I'm going with Buell.
Well, I'll go against you, and I'll rep Team Jiva.
Team Jiva had a really cool like 5 tank comp on stream
Five tank?
last week. It was like
That's
5
interesting.
glory. It was pretty cool.
Does glory damage stack? But like if there's 3 people and then there's one guy and there's 3 glories around him, does it all stack?
I don't know. Yes.
I'd say tentatively yes. Obviously, if you don't have 3, it's not going to work. But
Right. Yeah. Also, yeah, he's got that Jiva's jerky. Do I have to change? Like, I mean, I like food, so I'm gonna have to change my
the
vote.
barbecue team. So I guess we can take the question from Heron Fang. Do we know how often damage procs from spin to win on Petrus?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna say every second.
Every it I are you? It's a damage over time.
Every half second.
Every either way, it's going to be a total damage of 480. But I suppose that is significant in how fast that dot deals in terms of being able to heal, shield, and reaction from that. I'd assume it's around half a second to 1 second.
Right. So the correct answer to his question is no.
We
do
have
not
no
know.
idea, but we can craft about it. I wouldn't expect it to
takes
take any
once.
more than one.
It takes once. If you hold someone in it for the full 3 seconds, the damage stacks up and then just like goes off all at the end.
I think you're trolling me.
No. But so unyielding progress quote reduces the cooldowns of Petrus's other abilities by 1/3 of a second whenever it strikes an enemy shaper. So every 3 shapers is going to be 1 second off his cooldown. There's 5 shapers, and so I mean, if it's proccing every half second, that's what I've confused myself. But that's like all of his seconds, right?
We could
Like
certainly get the proc time if we went back, watch the Waystone stream, jump into the middle where he spins, and just watch how often the CDR is coming or the damage. There's ways we could figure it out.
Yeah, so Dibs has just promised right now, right after the show, after the variant spotlight, and after publishing this, he's just gonna go do it.
I'll go watch the gameplay and I'll get back to you, Heron Fang.
All right,
So
all
do we have
right.
any last questions going on in chat, or are we coming to a
Um,
close?
I'll check IRC, but I'm doubtful. There's some more talks about some stuff. Nope, nothing in IRC, nothing in chat. I believe that's it for the Q&A or AMA or whatever you want to call it.
That is it. So anything cool? Pimp our stuff, MOBA Champion. Anything going
Yes,
on over at the site?
yes. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes. You could shake sticks at it. So in the last week, I updated the search function on the site to work for items, shapers, roles, loadout, added tooltips for everything that didn't exist before, and which will show up in the guides now. So instead of Gladiator just showing up as an icon, it's going to show up with the icon with the text. There's more guide usability stuff coming soon too. We had a really cool conversation in IRC today with some guys sort of letting me know what in the guide section they wanted, and it seems like comments is like the next biggie, and also publishing your guides in a private or public state. So pretty soon you'll be able to just sort of toggle, so you can just preview your guides before putting them out. And we bumped the text limits up to 25,000 characters, so a couple people with some really long guides
Yeah,
were
some
concerned.
book guides.
Right, so
But I
we'll have
certainly
to.
like books.
Yeah, we'll have to be in discussion with their publishers to find out what sort of royalties we'll be getting on these novels. But no, they're super good. Miani or Mionmi or however you pronounce his name put one up today for Michaela that was good, really really in depth and really helpful.
I did see
Um,
that one. Looking at it now. Oh, yep, he does have a lot of content and lots of
yes,
builds that and bold. This is nice. Tips.
it's it's really well put together. Almost as good as his muscle build from
A couple weeks
Varian.
back. Oh, that was it wasn't
Right.
the best build I've seen. I don't think it's recommendable. It could work. I don't know. The nerf to power though, is muscle build really the strongest thing?
Oh, true. Yeah, you might have to go like other build. I don't know. What are
Leg
some other
build.
icons? Okay, you stall while I look at other items.
Stalling. So I'll be working on the variant spotlight. Hopefully getting Petrus spotlight out next week, assuming Duokun with acids. He doesn't take him from me every game. I can actually sit down to get a chance to try him out. Apparently, John is still looking for other.
No, I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna cut you off.
You're gonna cut me off.
Skull build. It looks like there's a lot of skull items, and they're all pretty good.
You could go
Uh,
undead build.
Undead, right? Ruin does some scaling, hit points,
Decay.
decay, oppression, inevitability. You heard it here, folks. Skull build is on the rise. Muscle build is on the decline. Heron Fang in chat had another question. When are you going to lose to me? The answer: the next time we play together. Moving on with MOBA Champion stuff. Sorry, I have like a big list here because I don't know where else to put it. So podcast. So localizations. I'm looking into how to localize the site with a couple people from Russia, Germany, and another language, Spanish. So I'm looking into exactly how to code that up because this is all new to me. So that's on the horizon. Thinking about adding YouTube videos embedded for every shaper's ability. So you'll be able to like click on Amorous R and see like a 5-second clip of her using R. So that's gonna be
Smart.
cool. The orange tracker is what I'm calling sort of the Blizzard Blue tracker version for Dawngate. It's going to sort of parse through and scrape the web for Dawngate developer tweets, Dawngate developer posts on their forums, stuff like that. And since our site's sort of built on a forum foundation, I'm just gonna script that in to post a news post every time that happens. So you'll be able to like look through them all super quick in one, your one-stop shop. Um,
Waystone Games question chat's making me really laugh. I didn't want to interrupt you and ruin your vibe of pimping your stuff.
okay, yeah, because this is a monologue of pimping. The last thing two more things.
So much stuff. How do you
There's
have time for all this, John?
I have no social life. My girlfriend hates me. Um, Comments are coming on guides and news posts, and there's going to be a new profile page coming up that'll let you associate your account with a team/organization, and the guide system will work off this so that you'll be able to say all guides for Team MOBA Champion, for example, or Team whatever. So, if an organization throws a few people at Dawngate, be like, oh, look, here's their guides if they don't already have their own guides feature on their site. So, hopefully we'll get some cool stuff with that. And then, just a way of branding yourself on the site as well. And that's it for now.
Nice. So yeah, I guess for me, we're going to be working on getting this podcast more streamlined. It's certainly not optimized. Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. Decided to try and throw this together today. I'll be getting out more Shaper Spotlights. Again, I'll be giving away a key tomorrow if you just comment on my Varian Spotlight when I put that out tomorrow. All you have to do is comment. No, none of that like, subscribe nonsense. If you like it and you want more, then feel free to do that. If you have a beta key, try and stay away. If you're trying to win one from a friend, I won't hold it against you. But that's about it for me.
Yeah, I think you should release the raw audio of our first 3 podcasts to have people appreciate how bad we truly were.
Yeah.
Because there was not a lot of dead air this time. There was no uncontrollable giggle fests.
The uncontrollable
nobody's
giggle
internet
fests
went
are
out.
fun. It went out briefly for like 1 second. And just 1 second, but it came back real quick.
Darn. Yeah, man, I think that's it for me. I'm going to bed. Girlfriend is getting angry.
Girlfriend aggro.
Aggro. You've heard her over my microphone.
Yes.
She's mean.
She's feisty. Thanks so much. I did not expect more than 10 people to turn out at 1:30, 2:30 in the morning for the impromptu live show. This is weekly. You can expect us to be doing this maybe when patch notes are announced or shortly after the beta on the weekend or maybe a Monday, depending on our schedule. Everything's not refined. If you guys have feedback about the show, we'd love to hear about that. You can PM me on IRC or Reddit. I'm sure you can do the same for John. You can flame his site and hack it. Please don't do that.
Oh, God.
But there's plenty of ways to reach us. As well, we got our Twitter handles down below. I don't really know how to tweet, but you can tweet at me, and I can try and respond back to that. I'd love to hear from you guys on any feedback at all.
I did my first hashtag today, and it wasn't ironically. And no, you can't flame John on IRC. No.
No flaming. So I guess that about wraps up the show. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, this is where if we were recording the show in advance, we'd sort of like be like, okay, that's it. We'd just cut dead, and then tomorrow you would splice in an outro. So I mean, I'm just gonna say thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching and for coming out in the middle of the night to watch our impromptu show.